Do you want to be here? Neither do we. That's why we call it the obligatory. We talk about farts, food, Myke's kids, $5,000 beds, girls, comedy, and Kermit's butthole. Yeah, maybe the facts aren't right, but here's the obligatory podcast with Kermit and Myke.
For those of you who aren't familiar with the phenom, that is Charlie Bowie, and we're talking about our 4 listeners in Australia right now.
Hey, Aussie.
Charlie's been a big fixture of the Orlando comedy scene for quite a few years. When did you start out comedy here? It had to be back in...
Almost a decade ago.
I was going to say,
Yeah,
wasn't it like 2009,
2010 February or so here, but officially 2009 up north.
Yeah, up in Maryland, right?
Baltimore.
Yeah, I think actually it was probably 2010 when I saw you for the first time. You were doing one Carmen Vallone's open mics out in, it wasn't Katie Bell's, it was some Irish pub up in Lake Mary area.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
And I walked in and Carmen Vallone's like, hey, you should see this kid on stage. He's pretty funny. I walked in, I'm like, he's wearing shorts. Fuck this guy.
Yep.
And then he was pretty funny.
Yeah.
He was pretty damn funny.
Well, at that point, I was doing this thing where I was like, well, if I sell myself as the seersucker shorts guy, I'll always be allowed to wear shorts on stage.
Right, and seersucker, such a great material.
Yeah.
Because as we found out years later through Steve Martin's autobiography, you know that white suit he got known for wearing?
I was going to say, what's a seersucker?
Well, you know...
It's the stripedy stuff.
It's like it's stripedy, it's rigid, but the whole... not rigid.
White people at horse races wear it.
It's a lighter It's a lighter fabric. And the one that Steve Martin wore for years was white with like light blue pinstriping. And it wasn't a fashion statement. He later on went on to say, and I've experienced this myself.
Absolutely.
He's like, seersucker travels better than any other fabric. So you can pack it up, crumple it up, throw it in a bag, throw it in a suitcase, and when you get to where you're going, it doesn't need to get ironed or steam cleaned.
Well, because it's supposed to be sort of crinkly looking.
So in other words, like Tommy Bahamas. Tommy Bahama?
Like
Tom
that
Bahamas
lightweight
stuff?
type fabric.
That's more linen.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. But you're getting there.
Yeah, you got the idea.
But how did the seersucker shorts work for you?
It lasted until I started getting paid, and they were like, no, you can't wear shorts on stage, and getting yelled at by
What are you?
every single
An albino
comic.
Gabriel Iglesias?
I was pretty fluffy at that point.
You were fluffy.
Honestly.
You were pretty fluffy.
Oh, yeah, I was fat as shit. I'm back to being close to fat as shit. Well, weight-wise. But
part of that's because you quit smoking.
yeah, quit
right?
smoking.
And took up
quit drinking.
cookies.
And cookies are delicious.
You quit drinking too?
Yeah, November.
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Wow.
It didn't help with, I figured all the weight loss would happen, but it was like, no, now I just crave carbs so much more.
I didn't know that. So no beers, no nothing
None.
since November?
Zero.
Yeah, because you were a beer drinker.
Oh,
I remember
yeah.
that.
Yeah, you were.
Dude, no one would realize how drunk I was.
Oh, I
because
did.
I would say the only people that knew just how many drinks I had was the bartender.
Or me, because I was trying to keep up, and I was like, I'm dabbing
yeah.
out. I was like, fuck this.
No, it was getting to a point where it was like, God damn,
Yeah.
how much every time I go out is a $30 plus tab for beer, just
to see
beer.
you without a beer in your hand at a bar would be like, are you feeling okay,
Yeah.
man?
Oh, dude.
What's wrong?
I mean, you were there when we were in what was it? Jimmy Buffett's in Thibodaux or whatever.
Oh, yeah.
And
Bossier City, Louisiana.
Bossier City. And I was too sick to drink a beer for a show.
I think we drove like 16 hours. 16 hours.
16 hours. And
Straight through.
16
Trash.
hours to do this one gig, but it was nice. It was at
Beautiful.
Jimmy Buffett's Margaritaville Resort up there
Middle
in
of
Bossier
nowhere.
City, Louisiana.
Middle of nowhere.
But like you could walk out the casino over this bridge, and there was Bossier City, which I guess
Yeah.
is the big happening place there.
Right.
And wasn't it also the original Mardi Gras or something? Or
I have no clue.
no, wait, that was Mobile claims to be the original Mardi Gras. They're
They're
in Bossier City.
just trying to take hype. That's bullshit.
In Bossier City, they produce a lot of the floats from Mardi Gras because we were driving through and they had all the factories for building the floats. But our plan was to do the gig, crash at this nice resort that they were playing up.
We had
us up
hotel
at,
rooms and everything.
and then head in to check out the city, after the show. And yeah, we did the show, and he comes off stage. He's like, dude, I just want to go to the hotel room and crash out. I just feel like shit. I'm like, are you really just going to go sleep? He's like, yeah. I'm like, well, then we might as well get in the car. You can sleep in the car. We'll get. So it was drive 16 hours, do the gig, turn around, drive 16 hours.
Party animals, bro.
Well, you know, I was not feeling good when I opened a beer before the show, and I got back off stage with a beer with a sip out of it.
Yeah.
And like, ugh.
You guys been doing comedy for a while together, though, right? When I first met you guys were doing.
We were featuring. Like, I was featuring for him for what, 4 years, 5 years?
Wow. When did you probably? Because it was right after you came back from New York.
So 2012.
2012. We started going on the road together.
And then when I started working in politics, we were going around the country doing stuff.
Start working in politics? Mm-hmm. What do you mean?
I was a campaign manager.
Oh, okay.
And it was
a lot of door-to-door stuff.
Tons of door-to-door. But then once they realized I could type and I wasn't dumb, they were like, no, you're doing data entry. You stay in the office.
Wait, I was going to say door-to-door was it before the internet?
No. So the Dems believe that door-to-door is the only way to go. Republican campaigns do all like TV over-the-air stuff because they know don't bother old people. Just tell them who to vote for on TV.
That makes sense.
Yeah, after when they're watching, Wheel of Fortune, you're like, oh, vote for our guy. And they're like, that sounds like a guy.
I'll be honest. I don't open my door for anyone.
No.
Charlie's going door to door. Have you heard the news?
Yeah. Well,
there's an election
for a while
coming
it was
up.
Charlie and Big Tim partnered up. Big Tim Murphy also
two scary looking guys.
Formerly of the Poke and the Bear podcast.
Way to bring that
could you see and they would send them to the bad neighborhoods, right?
No, we would go
the bad neighborhoods.
Okay.
Lots of Mexicans.
No, they would send us to the whitest neighborhoods possible.
Yeah.
Because when they would send us otherwise, like I got asked if I was a parole officer plenty of times. When I was in Paramore, they were like, whose PO are you? And I'm like, I'm here to give you health insurance, I guess. I don't know. I'm trying to help you. I got nothing.
He would text me while he was doing this, telling me he was going into neighborhoods where cops don't even let other cops go without backup.
There was one place where we went back because the first day, multiple buildings were on fire.
And then you guys went back the next day?
Yeah. Well,
have you heard?
So what happened was, this
have you heard? Our guy's against fire. He's anti-fire.
Pro-fire department, anti-fire. But he was, so we drive into this place, and there's multiple buildings that are on fire. Well, turns out this guy had, bought up all of the units for, $3,000. He had bought 5 to 7 units.
Those are some crappy units.
Yeah, and there's people living in them.
Of
squatters' rights, right?
Yeah. Squatters'
rights. So
rights.
he goes and he's like, "Hey, this is my property now," and he gets stabbed in the stomach.
Oh, that's nice.
Yeah, multiple times. And then the squatters that were there lit the buildings on fire.
Oh.
Yeah, because
I thought this was going to be a 1980s movie where he went in and said, I need to get rid of these people, set his own property on fire so he could rebuild.
Yeah, no. So then we're like the cops and the fire department are like, don't come in here. It's a bad area. So we're like, okay, can we come back tomorrow? They're like, I mean, you can. I wouldn't, but and so
you were committed.
Oh, dude, we were there.
Why?
We were getting paid reasonably for the time. Well, the dumb shit was
2 stabs a week. You're good.
Well, one of the campaign promises was raising the minimum wage to $15 an hour, and he didn't pay us $15 an hour. It's like, but that's your thing.
Yeah,
man.
But we're not there yet.
After I'm elected,
I got to make sure I get your vote first.
And as soon as the campaign was over, we were gone.
Wow.
And he won, right?
Oh, he won. Yeah.
Man, Obama didn't care, huh?
Dude, he was one of the only Dems in Florida to win, and it was the worst victory party ever because we were all psyched that our guy won, and everybody else was like, "We tried really hard. We tried." It's like, this is not rec council. This is not high school sports. If you lose, you lost.
Yeah.
No, you don't get to, we tried. No, you lost. You straight up lost. It it frustrated the hell out of me to see all those people like, we really brought a lot of attention to the no. No.
I just find it funny that he knows somebody got stabbed multiple times. Place
Still
on
in
fire.
it.
Can I come back tomorrow? Like,
Dude, I tried to get. There was a girl in there, and she was like,
she was on fire.
She was like, "Are you hiring?" She's like, "Are you hiring?" And I was like, "Yeah, I guess. What's your email?" And it was like, it was. Oh, dude, it was like 69 skank forever or something.
Oh, I
And
got
you're
her.
like,
I got her email.
oh God, you're 17 and you're pregnant for the second time, and your email is that. You're never
She's
gonna
been
get
mean to change it. It's just there's a high school.
Dude, that's why like colleges and high schools give out email addresses.
There's a comic on the scene, and I work with them, for some side gig booking stuff I do. And his email is his mother's name at AOL.com.
Okay.
And I've asked him repeatedly, like, why do you have this email that's your mother's name at AOL.com? And he's just like, well, she wasn't using it anymore, so she just gave it to me. I'm like, emails.
They're free.
Yeah, they're
free.
Like, literally, you can go right now to Gmail, put in your name, put in whatever you want. I'm like, do you know how weird it is that you're, like, close to a 30-year-old man and you're using your mom's email address for, like, professional work-related things?
Maybe he's like, it'll seem like a manager is taking care of me rather than...
Oh, like that's his agent?
Yeah.
Oh, no,
Yeah.
this guy ain't getting bookings unless they're from Bonkers.
But I mean, there are plenty of comics that do that thing where they're like, oh, I'm representing me.
Or
But,
like on the phone, like, hello.
yeah, hey, this is David. I'm representing Charlie Bowie.
Give me 1 second.
Charlie! Charlie!
Are you available?
Well, yes.
Yes.
I'm coming.
I know I sound
Hang
like a
on, let me
horse.
finish drinking this water.
Why did I sound like a horse walking?
You came in with a horse. What the?
Yeah, Mike Hurley, one of the best Foley guys in the business.
You're just snapping celery all the time.
I feel like we're doing like the old Adam Sandler like sketches. Did you ever listen to those?
Of course.
Oh, those were amazing. I had them on cassette. That was like, could I do this for a living?
Yeah,
He had the
you
goat
could.
that played football.
I don't remember this
You
skit.
button hooked me. You freaking button hooked me. It
My
was like very Cheech and Chong, but for our generation,
My favorite one was the peeing one. I don't know why.
where it's just nonstop.
He's like, oh, I just gotta take a piss. And it goes like for half an hour of him pissing. And you can clearly hear it's a hose.
Well, that's how you waste a bunch of tape when they're like, you have to make 2 albums, and you're like,
Got it.
I got them. Here's 45 minutes of me fake peeing.
Yeah, I'm glad we got you in here though, because like I got over here a little early, and Kermit's like, "What are we gonna talk about tonight?" I'm like, "Well, we actually have someone coming in who knows a lot of shit about a lot of shit," and he's like, "Yeah, but we're not an intelligent show." I'm like, "Which will be a nice change up for what we usually do."
I just play one on TV.
And
Come on.
there were things I was telling him he didn't actually know too much about you, which that's the funny thing about Charlie. The longer I've worked with you, the more like you just mention you do something in passing. I'm like, that seems like that should have came up in like 9 years. Like, so let's just go back a little bit. First of all, you grew up in Maryland.
Baltimore City and then county, yeah.
I took the family. I drove them up to Connecticut and upstate New York this summer, and then flew back, and then went up and picked them up. But we actually drove through Maryland, and we passed a sign that said Bowie, Maryland.
Yes.
And I turned to Baby's mom. I'm like, yeah, that was actually named after Charlie's family. And she laughed a little. And I was like, no, really, that was named after Charlie's family. And I think we had gone through and did a casino up in Maryland one Thanksgiving. Yes. And you told me that your family name is pretty big up there. Mm-hmm. You've been around for generations. And wasn't one of your relatives like the first one to open? Isn't there a pool named after him or something
Frederick,
like that?
Maryland's public pool. But another interesting one is Odin Bowie. Oddly enough, he was the 34th. I found this out recently. He was the 34th governor of Maryland.
Was there a note in your previously owned slave book that had...
You know...
I was going, man, you beat me to it.
Hey.
I was waiting for it. I was like, what is this?
Hey,
Is it
I'd like to point
plantation?
out Charlie
They're
and most
free
his
now. I didn't do it.
Charlie and most his living heirs never owned slaves personally.
No, if there's anyone that's old enough to still own them, Jesus, they're like crypto.
Do you think there's like one town that the word never got out at? Like
There's got to be some backwood.
M. Night Shyamalanian
Yeah,
town that's
very-
like,
Hey, Whatever happened with that Lincoln fella that said he was going to get us all out of here? Shut up!
Do not cross over the cornfield. And they find there's a road right there. It's a full construction road.
Holy shit, I forgot to send the telegram. Oh, man.
I looked over the wall, and there was white men building the road.
What's a McDonald's? What is that? The
I
Jesus
met that
arches.
McDonald guy. He must be famous for cooking garbage.
So he was the 33rd.
33rd, 34th governor of Maryland.
Oh, wow. And he's like your great somewhere along that chain.
Grandfather, something or other.
Now, where does, like, outside of America, what does your family line go to?
England, Scotland, pretty much there for most of it, and then like one Swiss and one German. But
And then-
predominantly, they've been here since forever ago.
So up in Maryland, and then when you got out of high school, you decided to go to college, and that's what brought you down to
Correct.
Stetson.
Yes,
up in
Stetson
DeLand.
University up in DeLand.
And what'd you go? Didn't you tell me psychology?
I started with business, and then because I was like, I don't know what to do.
I think everyone does
I'm
that. I'm going to do
absolute-
business.
Dude, well, in our era, it was like you go to college after you go to high school. What do I do after
Figure it out.
what do I go into? Whatever. Just go to college.
Yep.
And then you go into college and then
Go
you're
get
like,
that debt so you can be American.
The business degree, there's so many people in business, and then it was like, oh well, I don't really want to do business because I don't know what to do.
Yeah.
So I'm going to go to, there was a theoretical finance thing that was very interesting to me. So I went into math as a degree. They stopped using numbers.
I was
and
gonna
I was
say
like,
the
fuck this.
subject I've avoided like the plague my entire life.
love math.
Really?
I love math. But as soon as they got rid of numbers, I was like, I don't know what to
The
do.
alphabet got involved.
Dude, when the Greek alphabet, when it's like, why is there's not a single number in this, and there is a number that is the answer to the problem?
Yeah.
What?
Not to sidetrack from the history of Charlie Bowie, because that's what I want to hear about today. But no, seriously, you just reminded me. We took off. I had worked with Godfrey last year at the Improv, and every show he did was amazing. It was a different hour every night. So this year I wanted to go back, catch him again, and he was up on stage and he was actually doing an alphabet bit about how he's trying to learn Chinese. And he's like, in America, we have 26 letters, and we're cocky about it. Like at the end of the song, we literally go, and now I know my ABCs. Meanwhile, there's some kid in China, 3,000 characters in the alphabet. That's why there's no Sesame Street in China. They're like, fuck, we're done. But 3,000 characters, I can't even believe it.
Well, and it's a lot of like,
Repeat stuff?
well, there's the way you write. There's a lot of like the swooshiness.
If it doesn't swoosh this way.
Yeah, if you like write it this way, it means something, versus that way, it means something.
You calling me a bitch? Like, no, that's I meant to say
No,
5.
I said.
Well, how many times have you seen those tragic tattoos on Facebook where someone thought they got like peace and love, and it really is $2 sushi all day
$2
long?
sushi, yeah.
Oh, dude, my buddy Dusty said in China, there's people that just have water like written in English on their arm. What?
And that's so funny too, because you do see in China they try to remanufacture some sayings from America on shirts, and it's always horribly backwards, ridiculous stuff.
Well, oddly, I feel like China is in a weird spot because their industrial revolution is just like they're busting at the seams. They're creating so much stuff and manufacturing so much stuff for us.
That's what you get when you limit the number of women you can have.
But
All right.
but honestly, they don't have much creativity. They just take what we've done,
Because-
What are you
or
talking about?
whoever's done, and they. have you
patent
seen their cars?
Dude.
Hilarious.
Patent law in China is like not.
It's not a
So
thing.
here's what happens: someone designs something in another part of the world. They do all the brain work and everything else. They're like, "But where can we get this made cheap so it's profitable?" And China's like, "Hey, we'll do that
it."
for you." And then like a month later, they have the exact same thing over there, just without the company logo. on.
Their cars are hysterically just cookie cutter versions of our cars, and it's like, oh, this BMW M6 is the Highway SR773s.
Oh, so they changed the name too?
Barely. They changed it to random shit that Americans can read.
All of China would make amazing Orlando open mic comedians.
Yeah.
Because they're great at taking an original thing, changing it just enough that they can be like, like parody songs. They only have to be, changed 30%?
30%.
Yeah. But, so let's continue. You were doing the math thing, theoretical math type thing, and then...
Fucking nerd.
Hey, then I went into psychology. And psych was great. It was very interesting, but they never told me I'd have to get another degree afterwards to do anything with it.
Like you would have to get your...
At least another master's. Get a master's to do anything in the field.
Right. I took a year of psychology in college, and I think, now correct me if I'm wrong, anyone after college can become a therapist. You can hire yourself as a therapist.
Isn't that anyone that just wants to listen to someone shitty,
basically,
bitching, and complaining? You're a therapist.
No,
but you can't. What's the difference?
Licensure, you have to be licensed to do that.
Right.
Sure, yeah, you can become one, but to do it properly, you need a master's or a doctorate.
And then there's a whole different level of being able to prescribe drugs.
Oh, yeah. So, oddly, in Florida, you can be a psychologist or a psychiatrist. The prescriptions are different. Like they're more limited for psychologists.
I think,
but we can still prescribe in.
I think that's what I was looking for. So therapists can be just anybody. Yeah. Psychologists can't prescribe.
So in many states, psychologists are not allowed to prescribe anything.
Okay.
In the state of Florida, at least when I was going through college, they could. They could prescribe limited stuff.
So what is the technical difference between a psychologist and a psychiatrist?
So a psychiatrist is more of the medical side.
Okay.
They're far and I mean, they're a little bit, maybe not a little bit, they're more into the weird psychology shit. Or psychiatry shit where things are like, oh man, that person's talking as 7 people. That'll, and psychiatrists and psychologists can work in tandem. Like when I was growing up, I had a psychiatrist that basically did not give a shit about me. He just really liked prescribing drugs. And then I had
a drug dealer like that.
Yeah, right? Did not give a shit.
Wait, so you went to you went and got counseling or whatever?
Yeah.
And then it didn't help. He just gave you drugs.
It helped. Well, the psychiatrist, he was completely convinced that I was ADHD.
Oh, aren't we all?
Yeah, we're anyone.
I know I've kissed a guy before.
I mean, what?
Cut this part. Mark that.
Yeah,
mark that.
But I feel like during the 70s, 80s, and 90s, there were so many people that were misdiagnosed just for being boys.
Yep.
It's like, you can't sit and read a book for 3 hours. You must be ADHD. We're giving you Ritalin, and you're probably going to have seizures because of it and be heavily addicted to it thereafter.
I was in 4th grade and doing decent in all my classes. No, I'm sorry. It was 6th grade, doing decent in all my classes. And I went to my history class one day, and they had that fluorescent overhead, those stupid industrial lights. And it was just flickering, just a little bit. It would flicker and then stop. So she was talking about something, the history teacher, and I just started being more interested in the light.
Yeah.
So I started counting. I'm like, how many seconds is it? Seeing if I can predict when it's going to go again. And she finally stopped the class and go, Michael, is there a problem? I'm like, I was just looking at the light. And the next day I got pulled down to the nurse's office, and my parents got called in and we think he has learning disability. I'm like, now I wish I had the ability then to say what I can say now. The bitch was boring.
Yeah.
She was just a boring teacher, and the light was more interesting.
It was distracting.
Or was it the fact that you're staring at the light but shitting your pants at the same time? Going, Mike, and then, whoops.
I should have warned you before you came on. If we don't go to poop at least 3 times per episode, Kermit's not happy. He's like, well, that one's not airing.
Charlie appreciated the good poop joke.
A good fart joke.
That's like the
joke.
Nazi thing, where every internet argument goes to Nazis. You guys are every internet thing goes to shitting.
Is that what I didn't know about the Nazi thing?
There's this
I gotta
guy.
Up my game.
Oh, I don't remember his name, but he has this theory that when a internet argument goes to its the worst point,
okay,
it goes to calling people racial slurs and then calling them a Nazi.
Okay,
it's basically like 6 steps to Kevin Bacon,
Yeah.
but for
And
racism.
the end of it is always Nazi.
So what was it before Nazis?
I don't know.
The Jews.
Well, it was probably people that were Nazi-esque.
Mm-hmm.
You're a liberal.
I never heard of this game, by the way.
Oh, dude, it's not a game. It's just like,
or
on Twitter, if a political argument starts, it will more than likely end with someone calling someone else a Nazi.
well, nowadays it starts with Nazis.
Yeah.
And then
Well,
it goes,
nowadays, it's just like people throw around words and they're like, no, you're wrong. It's like, no, I have an opinion.
I don't like purple grapes. You're a racist.
You're a racist.
Fuck.
You're a racist.
like-
But I like purple grapes.
But I don't.
Well, what about the green grapes, huh?
You're discriminating
bigot.
against the green. You bigots.
You're racist.
So how old were you when you started going to see a psychiatrist? And was it because your parents had picked up some learning things
Oh well,
with you? Or what
I
was
mean,
it?
I was learning disability as like a kid. I was dyslexic, and they started testing me for that when I
Now-
was like 4.
What? I think we talked about this a little bit before. Were you Dick?
Dick. He was dick it. He was dicks in it.
All right,
Turds.
mark that. Mark that.
Boop.
What's the difference? What's the name for dyslexic with letters? And there, you can be dyslexic with numbers, right?
So dyslexia is
I like taste of colors.
okay. So that is synesthesia.
Oh, that's a word.
So, well, it's not necessarily tasting colors, but with synesthesia, it's very weird. If you hear a note, a color will come into your mind.
Mm-hmm.
It's like Kanye West.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's actually a lot of musicians that have
That can
synesthesia.
see music.
Yeah.
So they're actually painting a picture while they're making their music,
Right.
which is pretty insane. So back to the dyslexia thing. ADHD, what? Anyway, so like with dyslexia, there are 2 parts of your IQ. There are what is it? I don't even remember because I haven't had to explain it in a long time. But like,
Hurry up, dummy.
performance, and then your like actual.
Okay.
If on those 2 scores, there's a skew more than 10 plus points, that's when then you would be labeled dyslexic, right? Then with like dysgraphia, that is having trouble with writing, and dyscalculia is having trouble with math.
And what did you have?
I had dyslexia, and then dysgraphia as well.
So everything
But-
disc and then whatever they're.
Yeah.
Was it pretty much like? Did they pick up on the fact you had dyslexia early on, or did you struggle with it
when I was
before?
like probably 3 or 4, when I was in like kindergarten stuff, and they also noticed like weird shit, like me making strange patterns, like when you go outside and they're like, make patterns with the leaves, and it was like, oh, a red one and a green one, and then a red one and a green one.
Okay.
I made my pattern, and the teacher just stares at me like, what is the pattern? And I was like, a good one and then a bad one.
Wow.
And it was like one was crunched up, and then
Yeah.
there was a perfect one, and
Yeah.
then bad one, good one. And she was like, I've never seen a child come up with that pattern before, but it is technically a pattern.
Yeah.
So,
That's weird. You guys remember all this when you're little? Like,
Oh, I've just been told the story umpteen times.
Oh yeah.
Because it was a
Kermit's
friend
had
of my
several
mom.
concussions, so he doesn't
Yeah?
remember a lot of his
Yeah, I don't
childhood.
remember
You just get kicked in the head.
a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I don't.
It's
I always
a
find it. I
business
always find it
thing.
amazing that you remember your 2nd grade, your kindergarten, 3rd grade going to. I'm just like, what? I don't remember any of this crap. By
probably-
the way, I also think that you guys got way more attention than I did when I was little. There's no way anyone paid attention to me.
How many kids did you have in the family?
I was single. I was like,
What do you mean you were single? I met your sister.
yeah. I mean, I had my sister, but
I'm
10
not saying
years,
you guys
10 years
dated, but-
later, 10 years later,
Is she older or younger than you?
younger.
Younger than you?
Yeah.
Oh, you're not aging well, dude. I've met your sister. I thought she was the older one. No, that actually means you're aging.
Yeah,
pretty
Yeah, I was
that
gonna say,
would
wait,
mean he's
never
aging
mind.
great.
That means
That's
I'm
all
aging
that-
great. Thank you.
I'm having conversational dyslexia.
Dyslexic conversation.
more like dyscalculia, because that's numbers of years.
Yeah, mark this.
Oh, just mark it.
All of it. Got it. So,
All right, I'm going to press the button and start over.
so you went to the not for dyslexia. You didn't go to the psychiatrist.
No, I actually went to a school for dyslexic kids from 1st through 8th.
Arkham Asylum.
And it, well, No, it's a
Nexus.
small school called Genesee in Baltimore, and it was amazing. They taught with Orton Gillingham method.
They taught with whips and sticks and
They
stones.
beat the shit out of us.
What was the name of the
Said
school?
read Genesee.
Genesee. What a fucked up name for people suffering with dyslexia.
I-
Can we make it easier? Like
Well,
this is called School
Genesee.
2.
Let me see. I'm gonna look this up.
Yeah, and our mascot was the moose. And
You guys had a mascot.
well, from first you got a sports team.
You have missed out on mascots throughout your life. 'cause
Dude,
You were
absolutely.
a Stetson Hatter.
Yes,
For a while.
and a friend school Quaker, fighting Quaker to be exact.
Fighting Quakers, Hatters.
But we were the moose, and the reason why they chose moose was because, for one, there's multiple words that are moose, like hair moose, edible moose, animal moose, right?
right.
Sure.
Then
I'm with
and
you, I guess.
spellings as well. So that's weird because it's MOUSSE
Yeah.
for the moose that's edible, and then MOOSE for the animal, right? And then
Learning's fun.
moose, yeah, and then the plural of moose is moose. So it was all of a just kind of a weird fun fact word that all these dyslexic kids had over all these random people that are like, we're the Panthers. It's like, we're the moose. But that's like a group of moose rather than a single moose, okay? And it's not that moose, it's the other moose. But anyway.
I love that. I love that they made that so you kids can show up with other kids who can write a novel properly. And you're like, yeah, but what you know about moose?
What you know about moose, bitch?
What was the place called again?
Genesee.
Gemicy.
So you went there until 8th grade.
Through 8th grade.
And then after 8th grade, they figured you were fine for regular high school?
Yeah.
And then did you have any problems in high school? Everything pretty easy?
I mean, I took some exams with extra time, but everything else is fine.
so
Look at all these dyslexic
when
kids.
did you start?
They're very attractive, aren't they?
Oh.
The website actually looks nice.
Yeah, no, it's like a very good school.
And then you go there and it's looking like Shutter Island.
And no, it's like
It's pretty prestigious.
I would say like it's a good school.
you. It's just like, yeah.
So when did you start seeing a therapist? And what for?
High school.
And what was going on? Just pressure?
Well, being a dyslexic kid and having a computer before computers were everyone had them. Like I had people stomp on my shit. 2 computers in high school were destroyed by people.
Just because it was, you're dyslexic.
You have it, and I don't.
You have something I don't have.
Yeah.
You're a nerd.
Yes.
Blah, blah, blah.
You're really enjoying this weather.
He was a bully his entire life.
You're like 4'2".
Yeah.
That was
You
great.
hit puberty when you were 6.
Yeah.
Hey.
But he was
Hey.
held back a lot of years, so he was always the biggest kid.
I've been this tall since I was 12. Yeah, 12.
Shut up.
Yep.
That's
Anyway, yeah.
not true.
It's totally. It was 11. Fart face.
Peaked at 7th grade.
Ah.
Right? Let's get honest.
Yeah, but now you're like the Kumite master, and you can kick people's testicles through their eyelids.
Thanks.
One fell swoop.
Well, he was doing that back then, and that's the problem. That's why he's got the concussions.
Oh, yeah.
His dad was throwing him in baby fight matches.
baby Kumite.
Yeah, it was 2 babies enter, 1 baby leaves.
When baby when.
Those Osprey-Gosh overalls are mine. Just taking
Taking children's
children's pants.
You weirdo.
That's what we did when
Yeah,
we were little.
kicking the
Wow.
dog shit out of kids for their pants.
Their pants
What,
and
pink
the
slips.
spinny hats.
I got pink slips on these pants.
So was it like you would go to the psychiatrist and you're like, I just feel like everybody picks on me because I'm smart, and your psychiatrist is like, I know, right?
Right?
Right.
You're going to go to college and you're going to be like, God.
I'm
these
not going to
people-
lie. It's
people
going
are
to take
fucking
about
up.
10 years, but you're going to be able to laugh in their fucking
Well,
faces.
oddly, that is a thing of like high school was the fucking worst for
Yeah.
me. I know you as
Go on.
bully man.
I was not a bully. I directed the bullies. Like I was, yeah.
but
It was
like
good times.
high school sucked ass.
Really?
It was fucking terrible.
You didn't do any sports or anything in high school?
Dude, I played football and lacrosse. And like
In high school?
yeah.
For your high school.
What are you
For
talking
my
about?
high
You should have been a jock. You should
you're
have had
a
it
jock.
easy.
No. My high school was odd because like our football team, no one gave a shit about our football team.
Oh, that's the
St.
worst. We have a
Texas.
shitty
Yeah.
football team.
Well, we won. Yeah, we were pretty bad. But we also had the situation of like our athletic director just did not care about football. He was
Great.
he was a lacrosse guy, and it's like that's good, but you know, when you're homecoming, all 4 years that I played football, we had an away game on homecoming. What?
Yeah, they did not like you.
Saves you from having to get a date.
Yeah, no shit.
Dude, and like there was actually one game, I don't even remember the name of the school, but the ref died in the middle of the game.
Oh, nice.
It was insane.
It was insane. The
Like,
game kept going on.
Like our coach, it was his first year at the school, and like it was during a punt return, kick goes up, ref goes down, play happens, tackle, and then like
No call.
Well, like there was this weird like was he laying on the ground, fucking dead.
Oh, Jesus.
And like the other coach was like, if you guys want to come into the locker room so you don't have to sit out here, do that. And our coach was like, no, it'll be fine. It's like, you didn't know the guy was dead, but having a group of 14 to 17
The sooner the boys see this, the better.
Yeah.
See this guy? He had hopes. He had dreams. This is how it goes out on the field of a losing team.
It was rough, man. And we're sitting there just like, wait, can we leave?
See how bad you are? He'd rather die than watch you play. Look at him.
And we were getting our ass kicked. We were getting.
So you guys were like, so we're calling this game, right?
It's a tie, right?
We were waiting for the third period to come back.
We can't call this one yet. Did you guys ever play team sports? You played hockey,
Yeah,
right?
I played hockey.
And you played kick people in the head?
Yeah, that's what I played. I
It's a
didn't play
good
it.
It's a good game.
I played it. Who can shove this kid in a trash can before I can?
So you graduated from Stetson. How many years did you spend there?
5.5.
5, and you did the frat life, right?
Yes.
How was that?
It built me back up from getting, treated like garbage for 4 years. And
Were you kind of worried to, like, it's not apply, but rush, right? Rush for a frat going in?
So as far as rushing went, I unknowingly did it because most people at Stetson at the time were Greek, just because there's not much to do in DeLand. And I played flag football as soon as I got there, and that was like, I didn't realize that I was joining a fraternity at the time or like rushing, but playing for them and then partying with them. Then it was like, oh, yeah, you got a bid. I was like, okay, cool. Sorry about that. I don't know why I keep on touching.
What's a bid? It means someone recommended you?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, like
Sponsored or whatever.
no, because it's like the whole fraternity chooses yay or nay.
Yeah.
And then you get the bid.
Oh, you got no initiation.
Oh, there was initiation thereafter.
Shove this somewhere
Yeah.
where it doesn't belong.
Hide it.
What?
Naked. No, I mean, there was like weird little shit, like, learning the Greek alphabet, learning people's hometowns, all that shit, carrying stuff around.
Definitely not like what I was.
Oh, no.
told.
There's the ones that are like, oh, we're going to strap you to a bare mattress and hook a car battery to it.
Look,
or
I've seen Animal House like 100 times. I know what goes down.
I'm going to commit extortion on your name, and then you have to do it next year to the next guy.
No one got waterboarded. I mean, that's what I experienced.
You were in a fraternity?
I watched my buddies get waterboarded. I was like, I was like, I'm good.
You went to college?
No, I didn't go to college. I went to college, but I watched a guy get initiated into a frat.
You mean
I watched my buddy.
You went to college, meaning you went to the campus to watch people?
Were
you enrolled in a college?
I was at Valencia, and then I had buddies that went to UCF.
Okay.
And then I would party with them at UCF, and then I watched him get initiated, and they're like, we're waterboarding tonight. I'm like, we're what? And I watched it, and I was like, damn, that guy's really about to drown. And that was it. They're like,
I would have been like, nah. Like,
and then we partied afterwards. I was like, hey, all right. I didn't do it. I wasn't in. I was just here. Yeah.
Nope. No waterboarding. That did not happen.
I think they did it with Sweet Tea. It was hilarious.
Very funny. I like how you're just loving all that. You're like, you got kid treated like shit.
Baby's mama actually had a cousin who died in one of those being forced to chug like a gallon of milk things.
Damn, that's a shitty way to die.
I know. I don't like that.
How'd you die? Drinking milk. What?
It was skim. It was awful.
Milk does your body good. Not everybody.
Well, your body's like, there's too much lactose. Yeah. I need to get rid of this. And then did he have his like throat go?
I don't know the details of it.
No, so you start throwing up, and then your throat just.
Can your stomach even hold like a gallon of milk?
No, you automatically got to vomit it out.
Yeah.
Well, and like.
Steve-O did it all the time.
I ain't no doctor.
Well, our fraternity, we had not our campus, but we had in, I want to say it was either UF or US or FSU, a kid died our year of rushing because they forced him to drink like 5 gallons of water and then he couldn't pee.
That was on the radio too. It happened.
Yeah. And it's like
that's retarded.
That was on the radio. Mm-hmm. Wait, like they did it on the radio?
I did. A lady died from it because she was trying to win
tickets.
I thought,
yeah.
Oh,
something.
And she died?
Uh-huh.
It's like hyperhidrosis or something.
And I'm guessing that those
that was in that
stations,
radio station. Yeah. They changed the name and everything.
Well,
yeah.
I mean, back
Welcome
in the
to
day,
Agua 91.7.
AQA. AQUA. Water
Yeah.
in the morning.
You thirsty for new music?
Sue sounds.
Coming up next, our H2O no winner of the week.
They just do all Ocean. Billy Ocean's newest single. Like, what the
Don't go chasing waterfall. Just all water theme music. What a horrible. I'd listen.
No, but dying by hyperhidrosis is like, it's awful.
Are you about to die now? You're starting to choke on the water.
I did the bong rip.
Yeah. You did the
sound.
bong rip. You almost died on your. Nice.
So you graduated Stetson after 5 years.
Yes.
And did you have any thoughts of leaving Florida at that point? Or
No, I moved to Orlando.
What reason? What brought you down to Orlando?
I have no idea. I was just like, I like Florida. I don't want to move back to Maryland. It was mainly I didn't want to move back to Maryland.
Yeah.
Because, the one time that I went to like a party with friends from high school, it was like, this sucks.
Yeah.
None of like going to the University of Maryland and seeing all the people I went to high school with only hang out with the people that they were with through, first through 12th grade.
Right.
Like, ugh.
Well, I gotta say,
Branch out, man.
I drove back. I was up in Maryland with you like twice. We passed through and we stopped by your parents' house.
Yeah.
And your parents, at the time, I know they sold it downsized to a condo or something, but at the time, the house where you spent most of your high school and stuff, beautiful house. But I'm not lying when it says it felt like it's probably 40 minutes from anything worth doing.
It's very far away.
So it's probably a good 10-minute drive just to the main road.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
you go through all these beautiful houses and back roads and everything
It's
else.
built up a little bit, but it is that was way the hell out.
I mean, that's back before cell phones and beepers.
yeah.
So it's like, do I really want to spend an hour to get somewhere
To see if
maybe
people
do
are
something?
there?
Yeah.
Oh,
You didn't live in the most. Like I've been to Maryland, like Baltimore,
yeah.
the downtown, and I went there for a wedding. And we flew into the airport. Then we took the train into the city. And then I went to we got to the hotel, and I'm like, wow, this is beautiful. They're like, yeah, this is a great area. Just don't go 4 blocks that way or 2 blocks that way or 2 blocks that way.
Don't go that
I
way.
was like, why? And at the time, this was 2008. And I guess I didn't know this till I got up there, but Baltimore for 3 years had held the record as the murder capital of the country.
Yeah. Baltimore. Right.
And I remember I wanted to go. So where we were staying, it was beautiful. It was like you saw people walking around with violin cases. There were music halls and churches and everything like that.
Everyone's walking around with violins.
That's my first memory walking outside the hotel, and there was like an orchestra on their way.
Oh,
And
were
it
you
was
near the BSO? I guess
the
Baltimore Symphony.
yeah. So it was like
pretty close there. Yeah.
Yeah, it was beautiful.
Like the Inner Harbor is gorgeous.
Yeah,
really cool.
and that
place.
was you could go
Really
down to the little harbor walk area.
But outside of it,
like one day I went to get my hair cut before this wedding we had to go to, and I'm like, I just put in barber shop, and I start walking 2 blocks.
get
and all of
edged
a
up.
sudden-
By
Dude.
Sweetie Todd.
Dude, when I tell you, we walked into this barber shop, okay, and there was the whole front waiting room, and there must have been 20 people, all right, and I'm the only one. They were all black. I'm white. I walk in with my baby's mom before she's the baby's mama. We walk in, and automatically I was relieved to see so many people because I'm like, oh, it's a long wait. I don't have to be here. And I start turning around, and some guy's like, what do you mean?
I got a chair.
That's exactly what he said. I got a chair. So he walks me to the back, and there's someone in every chair, and that's when I realized those 20 people in the front were just there to hang out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's the
So I go sit down in the chair. As soon as I sit down in the chair, the knob on the chair, like that you use to adjust higher or lower, falls off. And the guy goes, "This fucking cracker just broke my chair already." And I'm like,
well.
So he puts me in the chair, and he puts the the
neck thing.
the neck thing on. Then he throws the
the bib,
the bib on, and then I see hanging. He's got one of those sateen jackets, and it's got Golden Gloves winner,
Hell
1972. And I'm like, "That your jacket?" He's like, "That was my daddy's jacket." And I'm
my
like,
jacket's over there.
Okay, whatever. So then I'm like, "What I'd like to do with my hair?" He's like, "I could do that, or I could cut your hair like a man." And I was like, "Okay, let's go with that."
Go with the man.
So, and I'll tell you
I'll take
this,
the man.
Mike came out with a fade and a flat top.
dude.
I'm just imagining him having like the edge cut in.
Nice.
I'm not
So
even gonna
funny.
lie. It's the first time anyone has ever done the edge
Oh, so funny.
thing, and it looked great. It was great. But
One of the funniest things is seeing a white guy get edged and then have it grow out, so they just have like
The baby
stubble.
hair.
the quarter
Yeah,
inch
the little
baby hair in
like
the front. Oh, so funny.
But so we ended up being a good experience. Best haircut I ever got. Walk out there though, and right next door there's like a chicken wing place with fries. And I'm like, "Oh, I'm hungry." They have to buzz you in. It has like an iron grate to go stand, and then I realized every shop
Yeah.
is
Yeah.
a buzz in.
There was a chicken shop that I used to go. I'm like, my buddy Danny and John and Landon, all black dudes. They were like, "You can't go here without us." And I was like,
Yeah.
"Okay, okay."
Dude,
We get there. They were like bulletproof glass everywhere.
Yep.
Because they had a bike by.
Then a what?
Someone rode past on a bicycle and shot.
Oh, a bike, a drive-by, a bike by.
Yes, riding on a bicycle.
Oh my gosh.
And I'm like, I've never shot a gun, but I can only imagine the
That kick-
kickback
yeah.
on a bicycle while you're facing that
guy's
way.
strong.
He's either like wink or just
Depends
like,
on the gun.
Or
Yeah.
maybe he's the guy on the pegs. He's he's just like,
But dude, when you got buzzed me in, I'm like, dude, I'm looking for a 10-piece. I'm not trying to get a payday loan. You know? But yeah, so but you grew up in the more rural area.
Yeah.
I grew up in a nice area.
Well,
It wasn't
like
yeah.
Baltimore County. So Baltimore City is actually a county as well. Mm-hmm. And then Baltimore County is a separate county from Baltimore City.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
So do you have to explain that to people all the time when you say you're from Baltimore?
I just say I'm from Baltimore.
Yeah, you're like those guys
Because
that say
if I was like, I'm from Cockeysville, Maryland,
I'm-
or Hunt Valley, Maryland, they're like, where the fuck is that?
Yeah.
It's like saying we're from Orlando.
you get that a lot down here too. Ever since I was like in high school and stuff, kids would transfer in and be like, "I'm from New York."
Yeah.
And it's like, "Oh, what part of New York you from?" They're like, "Rochester." I'm like,
Nah,
"Yeah,
nah. You don't even talk like that in Rochester.
No, you're forcing that."
Yeah, we just got people like, I'm from Kissimmee. Like, what? Orlando.
Yeah.
Like, all right.
It's Orlando.
Yeah.
Same thing with Boston. There's so many people I know from like Boston, Massachusetts, but
Yeah.
you got Somerville, Everett, all these little towns, and it's like,
Foxborough.
let me save you some time and just say
Yeah,
Boston.
so much. Like for people, we're lucky enough that people know where Orlando is because Disney's here.
And that's the problem. They're wrong. They're
It's
like, "Oh,
not-
I know
yeah.
Orlando. That's Disney." No, that's Lake Buena Vista.
That's Reedy Creek.
Oh, we're gonna stay in Kissimmee. You are way too excited for that statement.
Yeah.
Yeah. You should have, as much as you think you're going to save by not staying at the parks, just stay at the parks.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Just stay at the
parks now. Plus, most of the hotels that are on parks, Universal and Disney, your room key counts as a fast pass. You get
All of it.
transportation. You're
Yeah,
saving
the
parking.
whole shebang.
Oh my God! At the end of the day, it's totally
Yeah,
worth it.
it's-
It's
yeah.
almost like Kissimmee, Lake Buena Vista's become Jamaica. Like, don't leave the
Don't
property.
leave the property. It's very dangerous.
Don't leave the property, man.
No, like you can fly into Orlando and never set foot outside of the properties.
Mm-hmm.
It like you can get your transport to your hotel. They take your bags from the thing. You don't even have to do anything.
Mm-hmm.
You just arrive. You get on the tram. You go to Mickey's house. You're done. You wait. You can eat anything that's there.
And that's the experience you wanted.
Yeah.
You want to see postcard Florida. You don't want to see real Florida.
no. You don't want to drive to Paramore and be like, look at this.
You know,
I feel endangered.
I grew up in Port St. Lucie, Florida, and you would go to send like a postcard or something to your family up north, and you look at the postcards, you're like, I've never seen any of this shit. Where do you find coconuts? I've never seen fucking coconuts.
It's all Photoshop.
Yeah, yeah.
People just all assume it's nothing but like alligators and palm trees and shit like that.
Mm-hmm.
They don't know we got real shit going on, like old people driving golf carts through Walmarts.
Or I-4 being made of like connector set and
Connector
Legos.
set. It's a
Like Legos and Hope.
Yep. Oh yeah.
Hope.
Yeah, you're like
I took I-4. I took it up to Altamont a couple of weeks ago, and I was like, "Wow, this is kind of new because it. I hate to say it, but it's like it is more convenient now.
Yeah.
Unless you're like in the downtown 50 area trying to get on, then your life sucks. But even coming back, it's a little different now because of all the people who are used to the way it used to be. They're the ones causing like,
Oh, yeah. Well, when there's like a 90-degree turn in the middle of a highway, you're like,
we're gonna
"What?
get to that. We're gonna get to that later.
How do we do that?
So,
How the hell did we end up in this conversation? I remember last thing we were talking about.
ADHD.
ADHD
What?
for sure.
So
Who am I?
So yeah,
Iggy Pop, motherfucker.
You graduated, you came to Orlando, you did the comedy thing. I'm pretty familiar with all that. And then this like last year and a half or so, you took a turn.
yeah.
Yeah,
Kind of laid off the comedy.
But now you're into painting.
yeah, painting is good.
I think you can officially say you are an artiste.
Yeah, I've sold.
It's one of the few things I have hanging on I moved into the new house a year ago, and right in my little section where I have my little desk and stuff, I have a Charlie Bowie original hanging.
You know, it's funny because like when you first started doing it, because it's easy to hate, right?
Oh,
And it's
yeah, for
fun.
sure.
I was like, look at this shit.
Look at this
Look at this
garbage.
garbage. And then you just kept doing. I was like,
All right, that one's good.
I kind of
like
like
that one.
Yeah, and I started
Yeah.
liking them. And I was like, oh fuck. You know what makes me mad? I was like, I know Charlie. And I kinda like a part of me is like, this is shit. But I was like, no, I actually like your
Well,
art.
no,
Your art.
So with it, I realized when I first started, it was because our dog died. Free died. And I needed something to figure, like, I was getting blasted drunk, and I was just kind of drinking and painting in the middle of the night. Like 6 o'clock in the morning, I'd be fucking drawing, and it was like, oh, god damn.
But you do all paint and watercolor.
Now
right?
I do all oil paints.
Oil, yeah.
Now I do
Yeah.
all oil paints. And the more you get into it, the more you realize that it's not about in my case, I'm not trying to paint a thing. I'm not trying to paint a person. I'm not trying to paint whatever. I'm painting a thing and then figuring out what the hell it is after.
So you just put pen to paper.
I just
or
go.
brush to paper.
Yeah, I just go. Like the one from today was like
Yeah, but you don't call it a horse. Nobody can ever say that doesn't look like a horse.
exactly.
I like it.
Right? I mean, there's plenty of stuff that I just have been doing, and it's
And
like,
it kind of takes you where
Yeah.
you start to see it in the painting.
and like my use of colors and kind of
Texture.
there's tons
Yeah.
of texture because it's
I think
I glop the shit on.
I was at Disney Springs, and they have their big art gallery over
Mm-hmm.
there. And I think I sent you pictures one night because there was a guy that was just using oils,
Yeah.
but like on almost a small, like inch by inch
Yeah.
to make these huge,
Yeah.
and they were gorgeous.
Well, the thing with the Disney stuff is I really like the art, but then it's all Disney stuff. It's like, oh, well, it's Mickey Mouse, and you're like,
Well,
fuck.
this
It
guy
was really cool until
Are you on the level you judging things like?
no, because you can still see like the talent that somebody put into it.
And the guy that I sent the pictures, I don't remember his name, but he did have several that were Disney, but then he also
had
had
other-
some that were just cityscapes he had
Yeah.
made. And I enjoyed those more
Yeah.
because, like, obviously, these are the commercial ones you did to get into a studio at
and
Disney.
Disneyfy
And then this
also-
is what you want to make your living at.
Like seeing people drop $2,000+ on a painting of Mickey,
And they'll do it.
and they will absolutely do
There's
it.
a guy that
Absolutely.
has his work down there now. The only thing he uses, he doesn't use paint, coffee. He just uses different,
like rounds.
Coffee beans or whatever.
different mix, like more beans in this, more water in this, so you get that different colors, and
Oh, so it's like watercolors.
it's like watercolors.
Okay, I thought you were talking about like he uses the grounds and kind of makes gradients with
he
different.
he
He's got
grounds
to figure
it.
out a way to save him a lot of money.
yeah.
Yeah, no, it's all coffee on canvas. And
Interesting.
It looks amazing. I mean, if you like brown, which I know both of you do,
What the hell?
I mean, I do. UPS is a great service.
So that's what you've been doing, a lot of the pain. You just, in the past probably 6 months, started picking up comedy gigs again, right?
Yeah, I've been
Here and
picking them
there.
up. I've got one at the Grand Martini in Titusville,
Tight ass.
Coming up this week, or?
the 30th.
Oh, okay.
And I'll be there with John Charles. I think Alan Newcomb is hosting. I'm featuring, and then John Charles is
Now, where's
headlining.
that?
Alan Newcomb hit me up. I think it's the Grand Martini.
Haven't heard of it yet.
Yeah, Alan hit me up.
Nice.
So,
Nice. And but are you still? I think I spoke to you a while ago. You had applied for and started working as a curator. Do you still do that, or did that fall out?
it was. I was working as a docent, and then it's
That's
like
a
Say, what's
guide.
that?
it's like you know, the people in museums that kind of stand there, and then like if you have questions, they'll
Well, I know that part, but what's it? Oh, that's what the docent is? Oh, okay.
yeah.
I thought that was the same thing as a curator.
So, and that was at the.
Orlando Museum of Art.
Is that where Ken did his wedding?
Yeah,
Okay,
Yeah.
cool. We had Ken on a couple of weeks ago. We were talking about his wedding and all the stuff we were going to steal.
dude. It was so funny. That wedding was amazing.
Wasn't it?
Oh, and watching like black people dancing is incredible. Okay.
There's our soundbite for the
Now, reason being, Brett did not have the cha-cha slide
Or no segues either. It's
or
just-
segues.
He had lights though.
He did not have the cha-cha slide, and he was like, "All right, y'all, do the dance moves from the cha-cha slide to this song," and people did, and I'm like, "No,
I was like-
I'm having a hard time doing the cha-cha
All
slide
right,
with directions."
here we go.
But they're doing the dance to the song.
But you don't know.
No.
But I think the song's called "Before I Let You Go," is the cha-cha slide for black people.
Is it?
Yes.
But it was the wrong
It
song.
just has no direction.
It was. There's no directions.
There's no directions. No,
Okay.
they just know to the beat where they go.
Okay.
To go.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I was just standing there like, wow, I got nothing.
I'm out.
White people, we need directions. We need jump around.
Everybody
we need the
clap
chicken
your
dance.
hand.
We need the Macarena. Yeah.
The Macarena doesn't tell you what to do.
We've seen the video enough times.
Okay.
Hey, Macarena.
You know to jump. Okay. Got it.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
No, but like
The Macarena is basically like checking to make sure you have everything in your pockets before you leave. You're like, all right, I got my sunglasses, my hat, my wallet, my phone, keys, good to go.
no, I knew I forgot something. All
Shit.
right.
Oh, turn around.
And then Cotton Eye Joe comes on. You guys lose your shit.
Oh my God. When were we ever going to live that down? You know what's funny? As a white guy, I was laughing at that song, laughing at that group of white people. I didn't know it was going to get pocketed in with me someday.
No, that is your theme.
Whatever, dude. You got like one beat and one song,
And
you
it's
just
amazing.
change lyrics.
It's
you know,
amazing.
we don't need a wall in this country. We need a bridge in your fucking music. That's
Hey,
what we
hey.
need.
To the bridge.
Just to change
Our
it up a
music
bit.
is amazing.
Is it?
Yes.
Is it?
Yeah.
Bum,
I'm
Okay.
ready.
bum, bum.
Now there's some weird thing that, like in traditional Mexican music, they use like accordions still and like tubas and shit, and you're like, what? Arriba!
There
Well,
you
that's
go.
Mexican. I'm not Mexican, so
You're
Well,
not Mexican.
No, I'm
You
not
said
Mexican.
you're Mexican.
You kind of are.
You said you're Mexican on
You're
stage.
pretty much
I say I'm
Mexican.
Mexican on stage.
I was going
What?
with that.
You lie on
Wait, you're not a
stage?
real Mexican?
No.
What?
What are you?
I'm Puerto Rican, Dominican, Chinese.
You've only become Puerto Rican
But I
since
was born.
Trump
But I was
took
born.
office.
I was born in El Paso, Texas.
Yeah.
That's still not Mexican.
that makes it
That's
pretty much
American.
Yeah.
Pace Picante from El Paso.
Paso, Texas.
Where's this made?
Yeah.
New York City.
Yeah. But you
Get a
thought I was
rope.
Mexican this whole time? No, I'm not
Well,
Mexican.
you said that you're Mexican.
I do it for the joke, Bowie.
What? I
Lies.
mean, the truth is.
James John says he's half Asian.
Yeah.
That hurt me when I found out he
Wait,
wasn't.
he does?
Yeah, he used to do a joke. He's like, my
Jan.
name's James John. I'm half black, half Asian. I know what you're thinking. I'm Asian from the waist up, Mandango from the waist down.
Oh, thank God he dropped that joke.
He found better ones.
His ass is
you-
so tiny.
Dude, for a guy that big, it's like his body's built like an ice cream
Hey,
cone.
hey.
That's his
Hey,
boss.
hey, yeah. No contract signed yet. He's like,
He has a tiny
he used
butt.
to do joke. He's
This
like,
is James' body right here. Look, he's his little ass and then big old belly.
he used to do a joke like it's hard being built like this, shaped like a candy apple.
Yeah.
Which is what it is.
It-
Tiny little legs.
His body, it's like
Is a Wonderland?
I don't know about that, but
So I know you've been dying with your thumb on some music.
I don't have anything ready. No, it's already passed. The moment's passed.
What's that? Oh, now's a good time to pitch. Kermit's also available to DJ any event.
Yeah. What the hell? That was a weird thing.
Well, it shows your preparation.
Oh, yeah. But I'm not doing anything. There's nothing.
He's just playing with MS Paint.
Yeah, he's just painting.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
I don't have nothing
I
queued
thought you
up.
were looking for something.
I was, but then I gave up on it. 'Cause I was like, the moment's passed.
He's
You guys are
just
talking about-
painting Mario with a big dick.
So, also,
Bowser with
art.
tits. It's art.
Also, I'd like to thank you and Ryan Holmes, because when we were starting this little podcast, I think you guys were like our go-to for like, hey, can we get some help on this and everything?
We tried.
We tried. This is what we came up with.
I mean, we're just kind of meandering through it anyway.
Yeah, because you guys started up. You did a bunch of episodes. You were doing like 2-hour episodes or something.
Dude.
Editing, everything else.
So long.
And then you guys stopped for a while.
Yeah.
And then you decided to start up again. You're like, okay, but this time here's how it's going. We press record and we're fucking done.
Yeah. And so we actually, in the first iteration, we tried to streamline it and do like parts. Mm-hmm. And one of our former members decided to take the daily news section of it. Mm-hmm. And he was basically just giving me the finger with every single news opportunity he did. For instance, the first one that he did was an article from 2004 about orangutan prostitution in Indonesia.
Okay.
And it was like, okay.
Keep it hot and topical.
You know, all right, whatever. He's like, no. I'm going to do the news. It's like, okay.
And did you say he was giving you the finger because animals are kind of your thing?
No, he was just giving us like the least on topic, nothing current, absolutely absurd bullshit Vice article he could find. The second one was about donkey fucking in Venezuela.
Starting to see a trend here.
Yeah.
So it basically was like, no, I'm not going to take this seriously because I don't want to. Fuck you, Bowie. Okay.
And it's funny because I was telling Kermit before you got here that you used to do a bit in your act that you're very knowledgeable about animals for some reason.
I at least have a lot of minuscule thoughts of them.
Like name an animal.
Let's go with a bat.
Bats, they use echolocation. Fruit bats actually don't, because they're large enough they find fruit. There's bats that are like the size of hummingbirds.
Okay.
All the way to the flying foxes that are like bigger than your dog by a lot.
Okay, meerkat.
Meerkats, they live in like groups. They always face the sun. So when they'll like stand up on their hind feet and they'll stare out. And so if they see anything,
they look like Trump looking at the clips like,
I got eclipse glasses. There was a snarky one on the Lion King.
Yeah.
That's a fact.
I found this out today. Elephants don't have scrotums.
Wait, what?
They don't have nut sacks.
The
They
testicles
don't?
are like inside.
They're
them.
up inside of them because
like
they're
ovaries.
Well, so they're
I never looked at an elephant's balls. I never realized that.
right.
Huge cock though.
Giant.
Yeah, we've seen those.
Giant penis. But the reason is that they are like evolutionarily from aquatic mammals. So they're like pachyderms, but they came from like elephants. Elephants came from like manatees there, and then whales thereafter.
Huh.
So all of those aquatic mammals have internal testes because. Are you really going to have your nuts hanging out in 70-degree water all day? No, because you'll have funky sperms, right? So pachyderms, they have internal testes.
I never really. I'm like thinking, like, oh my god, I never really noticed floating balls on any of these animals.
Right? So there's not just sack.
It's like floating around. Like a manatee doesn't have balls.
Yeah, it doesn't have big old
It would have
bag.
made Fantasia more interesting if they were just like flopping around while Mickey wore the wizard hat.
Oh, there's the hippos doing the.
Oh, could you imagine the Dumbo ride right now? Mommy, what are those?
just flapping.
That's his feather.
But I mean, I did make the realization that their entire body does sort of look like a scrotum. It's kind of wrinkly
That's a good
Right,
point.
and sparse hair throughout.
Right.
So yeah, but that like that was the one from today.
So what? You just go on the internet and like you type in whatever animal and then just look at.
Okay, so that one actually came from my mom.
So did your mom just like you and your mom have like these like conversations of like this is what Adam I looked up today?
So she volunteers at the Baltimore Zoo. And today she was working at the elephants, and a kid was like, "Where are the elephants? What was his name?
Where's balls?
Zazu's ball, not Zazu. But anyway, the elephant has a name,
Baba.
Tuffy. Where are Tuffy's balls?" And she was like, "I have no idea."
Oh shit, she didn't know.
So she went and talked to the animal trainer handler person. She was like, "Well, where are Tuffy's testes?" And they were like, "Well, actually, pachyderms, blah, blah, blah." So, yeah, that's the more you know with the sun.
Just shine right over the top.
So, I did Real Laffs with James John this week. So I went into the Real radio station, I guess, 104.1 to record on Sunday. And I was surprised to see you and Ryan Holmes walking out.
Yeah, we had Pedro on.
Pedro Lima? Mm-hmm. Cool. So you guys do your podcast from the studio nowadays?
Yes. Well, we do it from the iHeart, the podcast studio.
Okay.
So on like the other side of the building, there's a podcast room.
Right.
It's nice.
Cool. When did you guys start doing that? This last...
Probably like February or so.
Working out pretty well for you?
Yeah, not bad. The only thing that's a little weird is like the sheer number of podcasts iHeart is putting out.
We just got picked up.
Like they're just putting out so much.
And I think it's because like my day side gig is radio.
Right.
And I've seen like a lot of the memos coming through and everything. And the common trend is that podcasting is going to be like terrestrial is on the way out. Yeah. So it's like right now it's like a mad scramble almost to like, hey, look at all this free digital content we can pick up right now and just...
And not pay these guys.
And not pay them.
Yep.
Until they get to this ludicrous number that's like, what? That's an insane number.
Well, it's almost like YouTube back in the early days where it's like, oh, we'll pay you this percent. There were no YouTube millionaires in the beginning, but there was a lot of free online content.
Tons.
Podcast is such a wild west right now.
Oh, completely.
It's so like everywhere.
Well, it's terrestrial radio without rules.
Yeah.
And it's like you can listen to this in the car, you can listen to this in the phone, at home, wherever.
I saw someone post the other day. I know this guy. He does comedy on some level, and he's actually
okay.
He actually nice enough guy, but he's been a show producer, and now he's just got his first like hosting his own talk show on a radio station out on the other coast. And he posted this thing the other day, like, I'm tired of all these podcasters thinking they're actually, just as good as radio, blah, 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 blah. And it sounded like an old man screaming.
Right.
And I get that you spent years of your life getting into the radio, but if for 1 second you think your little morning show is getting more listeners to, like, than say the WTF podcast or Joe Rogan.
Yeah.
You're fucking out of your mind. Well, there's exceptions to every rule. No, what you're not seeing, and believe me, having been the middle child in not only my family but in comedy, part of it is realizing you can either jump on what's going on or you can be that old guy sitting behind going, no fair, they're not doing it right.
Yeah.
And I think that's where this guy is at.
Well, like one podcast I listened to is called Come Town.
Dude,
okay.
It's one of the top grossing.
Is it?
It's hilarious.
It's on that list I sent you the other day of highest earning.
It is absolutely ridiculous how much money they make a month.
Yeah.
Wow.
They make probably over $100,000 a month. $100,000 a month doing 2 episodes a week.
I don't understand how none of this podcast crap works. I'm looking at our charts right now, and like we dropped down on charts.
Well, we didn't put out anything
We're
last
14. This is the new
What
thing.
chart is that?
This is the base off the iTunes new thing. Because iTunes now cut up podcasts in categories.
What
yeah, you didn't
division
know
are
that?
I'm confused as to
What's
how
our
that...
division here?
Comedy interviews.
But we don't do comedy interviews.
This is interview.
Hello.
Yeah, he's not even a
I'm
comedian.
right here.
We were 13.
Talking about elephant balls and
we were pushed out of 13th by a podcast whose name is the exact one of those 3,000 characters we were talking about earlier. But like, yeah. So we're getting beat by Two Dykes and a Myke podcast at number 8.
That was actually the obligatory podcast.
Oh! At number 1 is Chelsea Handler. So yeah, Apple Podcast, United States of America comedy interview. I don't think this is the right category for us.
I don't know what it is, man.
But whatever, we're
I gotta
charting.
send it to me.
Hey,
We're
it's
charting.
a hell of a lot higher than expect. Like
Let's check out Poking in the Bear.
I have no idea
Pokey
where
and
we'll
the
be.
Bear.
Poking the Bear.
Oh, I thought you just made up like a cartoon or a bad movie. With
Oh,
Burt
look,
Reynolds.
you're the first one that pops up.
That's cool.
Poking the Bear podcast.
I don't know where we are.
You got
How are-
reviews.
We got
it
reviews.
has all your episodes up here.
Cool.
Recent episodes, Daytona.
Are
and
they
Spring
charted
Broken.
on
Are
anything?
we charted on anything?
I'm about to look.
I have no idea.
Isn't this interesting?
I've never seen that before. Oh.
And Poking the Bear at.
I'm tracking this podcast.
Yeah.
It's making me track it.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
It's very confusing.
It's very exciting.
Yeah, that's one of the big differences between podcasts too. Because I went to sit in to record some episodes of Real Laughs on 104.1, and I think I was 2 minutes in where I'm like, and then this shit,
And you're
they're
like,
like, whoa. I'm like, what?
Yeah.
And I'm like, I've been in there enough to know
Yeah, oh yeah.
I shouldn't. But then the stuff they do let you say, I'll look over at the producer. I'm like, oh, but that's okay.
Oh, you.
That's okay.
You totally fist. You
can
can fist her pussy.
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
Yep.
But you can call him a pussy, but can't fuck her pussy.
Yeah.
Jeez.
Something like that. And you're like, what?
And like I was talking about bartending, and I'm like, so I used to make the drink called a pain in the. I'm like, well, he's like, oh, you can say ass. I'm like, I couldn't say shit
Yeah.
2 minutes ago. He's like, well,
But you
ass
can't say
refers to
asshole.
like, yeah.
What?
Where's George Carlin to explain the rules for
Oh
me?
my gosh.
Oh, dude.
Do you know?
Godfather.
Do you know when the 7 words you can't say on TV?
They
when he did
changed
that,
that, right?
When he did that, the FCC didn't have an official list. He came out with that bit, and
then
then
they were
they
like,
took that bit.
Well, I see you and I raise you.
Yeah.
No, that was the official. They made that their list for. Well, okay.
Well,
Really?
There was someone sitting in the office going, "We never said you couldn't use it, but okay."
Yeah, and on that day, the FCC was born.
Dude, if you got to scroll past 100, don't worry.
I don't know
about
what
it.
I'm doing.
Neither do I.
Yeah, that's been the whole gist of our podcast for 74
is
episodes.
100%.
Zugu weekends.
So
I don't know.
We'll get those numbers and we'll figure it out.
Whatever.
We'll look at Chartable. But yeah, so the new podcast, the incarnation you're doing now is you and Ryan Holmes. And
Me and
Ryan,
Ryan.
of course, is one of the fixtures on the Monsters in the Morning
Monsters
now.
in the morning.
So you guys getting a lot of good crossover listeners from that?
I think
Or have
so.
you seen it?
I think so. There are a lot of Monsters listeners that have reached out to us, which is like, cool, great.
I remember when we first started this, I would look like the very next day for our numbers, and you
Don't.
told me, you're like, dude, we all do that first, but then you just got to start doing it and not worry about the numbers. And sure enough, now I'll check back every now and then. I'm like, oh, okay.
Still check.
A lot of people.
Yeah, that's nice.
Like last week I did when we started talking about like some of the things we want to change and do with this.
Oh yeah.
And I'm like, wow, okay. That's pretty good.
You
for
guys
an
got a
average.
shitload of reviews. I'm not going to.
Yeah.
Yeah, people actually listen to them.
Yeah. No one listens. None of our listeners leaves reviews. Oh, 3. They gave you 1 star to go 3 funny comedians and a dog.
Well,
Yeah.
And then
I
there's
can-
like a
that
3
was
point.
because one of our members told people, make it seem real. Give us 4 out of 5 stars every time.
Okay.
We can get reviews. It's all I gotta do is say negative things about Trump, and my uncle will chime in on our.
No, your
comment
uncle
section.
loves cussing
Loves,
you out.
He's a big
loves
fan of
Trump.
Donnie?
He's a big. Here's the thing. Like when he announced he wanted to buy Greenland last
He's
week.
listening to this right now.
Good. When he announced he wanted to buy Greenland last week, I'm like, I wish he would just said that, because for 3 years I've been wondering why he doesn't want to put money into healthcare or anything like. He was saving up for something nice, you know.
Hey, your
big
uncle
gift.
subscribes to our Patreon
Yes.
account, so you better take it
Sometimes
back.
you see an island you like, and even if it doesn't like you, you got to grab it by the fjord.
Grab it by the fjord. Grab it by the fjord.
And then he canceled his trip. I just read this today. He canceled his trip to Denmark because
you
they
were
won't
just having
sell
that shit
him
in the chamber.
Greenland.
Dude, you know, overall, when people are like,
You
"Oh,
were just
how
rating
can
his
how
strong.
can you not like him?" It's like, just as a human being, he does fucked up shit.
He's
Yeah.
just a shitty person.
like,
I mean,
Yeah.
I don't. His policies are so confusing and not evident that it's like I don't even care about his policies because they aren't existent. I don't even know if he knows what his policies
That's
are.
all.
He
Whenever
just signs it in fucking marker because
and
whenever I,
crayon mark Crayola.
whenever I meet someone who's just against me for not liking Trump
Yeah.
and hating my president, blah blah blah, I'm like, look, all politics aside, because I'm not a political guy, can you at least be honest enough to admit he's not a good person?
Yes.
And
yeah.
if you still defend him after that, then I know you're just fucking full of shit.
Like, if...
We're down this rabbit hole. Here we go.
That's why I'm glad Charlie was actually the one last election. I was walking to the booth because it was right around the corner from my house, the polling area. And I'm on the phone with Charlie. I'm like, you know what? I'm not crazy. I don't like Hillary at all. I don't like Donald Trump. But I almost feel like I should vote for Donald Trump just because I don't want to vote for Hillary. And I know he's not going to win anyways. And Charlie goes, no. He's like, believe me, it's too close. I'm like, no, the polls have him like not a chance. He's like, when you ask someone for a poll, they're going to give you one answer. There's a whole breed of people in this country that are going to vote.
There's the middle of the country.
You vote your race and you vote your pocketbook, right? That's how you go. Like, there's plenty of people who, like I said before, I'm one of the only people in my family who didn't vote for him. But some of them will admit they don't like him. But
now, yeah.
Financially.
I mean, because the show Apprentice was pretty good.
So no, it wasn't. Do you know the show Apprentice was done as a spoof? The reason they picked him was because they thought it was so
he's a ridiculous character.
And even all the boardrooms, those were all sets built in his tower. His actual towers were almost like the Playboy Mansion,
I honestly think he ran for president to be president
as an advertising thing
to boost the. He didn't think he was gonna win. He was like, "Oh shit!"
Dude, 2 years before The Apprentice, he was doing McDonald's commercials because I needed the bucks.
Because The Apprentice was like diving, and he was like, "Oh, you know what I do?"
I had the joke about him going in and being like, it was for a book deal, and then he's like, "No, we gotta lose this thing."
Yeah.
It's like,
he didn't know how to pull out. Like pull out.
John McCain's a pussy because he got caught.
Oh my god!
Oh, look at this guy. He's retarded. His arms are retarded, and you're like, "Whoa! You just said his arms are retarded."
There's no way he's gonna win.
Oh, he can't win.
So let's see. We're 3 years in. You've pissed off the people who were our allies. You've made friends with our enemies. Economy is about to go through like a shitty recession. And where's the America Great Again part?
What you don't understand, Myke, is that
we're going to buy Greenland and everything's going to be okay.
Well, he's banking on it. Like global warming is going to happen, and then we're going to move everything up there, and it'll be fine.
Yeah,
we're it's an investment property.
I think I was discussing
Mar-a-Lago North.
I think we were discussing it.
Big Little St. James Island.
Yeah. James Young brought up a good point. He's like, well, Epstein's in jail, so pedophile island's off the thing. They need a new fucking island. Greenland's right there. It's big enough. It's already got some Norwegian chicks on it.
Yeah, and I don't know if you saw this today. They are canceling all of the trial stuff with Epstein because he's dead.
Because he's dead.
But it's like, no, there's still people that did horrifying
Just
shit.
a couple of days ago, they were like looking, who should we investigate now?
Yeah.
And now they're saying,
oh, no, it's done.
So let's face
gone.
it, it's the one thing Democrats and Republicans have sided on this time around. Like, Epstein's dead. That's good for all of us. Like, can we lay off fucking children for a while, guys?
Well, no, they aren't going to stop.
Can we not
They're
get
just
caught
gonna
fucking
find
children?
Yeah, exactly. Can we make sure the next guy that we put in charge of the kid fucking can keep his mouth shut?
It was so stupid that you would see everybody posting, well, Bill Clinton went to his island, blah, blah, blah. What do you think? It's like, dude, it
would be the conservatives saying, look at Bill Clinton. It would be the Democrats saying, look at Donald Trump.
It's like,
no, they both fuck kids.
Here's pictures of all of them together.
Yeah, there is a group, and
if you don't think Clinton and Trump were friends, he donated to their elections.
If you're hanging out with Epstein, who is like a known child trafficker and sex offender, you're not a good person.
Well, we're not going to know the whole story until we see the documentary Leaving Mar-a-Lago.
On A&E.
Yeah, on A&E.
Yeah.
This time on Hallmark Channel.
Kermit gets pissed because he's not political, and
I'm not getting pissed.
He hates when I end up going to Trump.
I mean,
I don't get pissed.
You do. You always get so bitter.
Well,
I just watch you flare up and the smoke come out of your ears out of it.
Hate that.
And I just like, there's nothing we can do.
But I mean, for this next election, it'll be a weird one.
He's gonna win.
Probably. Yeah.
He doesn't want to admit it.
No, I'll admit it.
The Dems are going to eat themselves because they have so many of them, and they're all going like, look at how terrible this person is.
Here's the only place I see there's a shot. Okay, because last night, like it or not, Trump, when it came down to the final election, picked up a lot of the independent votes because he was still that guy that wasn't Mr. Politics. So
he wasn't a Republican.
As much as
he ran as a Republican.
As much as people didn't want Trump specifically, the independents were like, okay, well, we're not voting for Hillary because she stands for everything, and Trump's over here saying everything's going to be different, and that's what we want different. Yeah. So I think a lot of them this time around are just going to be like, all right, we fucked up big time there. Let's go over here. And then let's even look at his base. Yeah, he's still got the lunatics running around saying he's doing a great job, but look at all the Midwest people that he was like, oh, I'm going to help the farmers. I'm going to help this.
And they're like,
and 2 years in, they're like, well, we're going to bail you guys out. We cut trade. I'm not letting you send your stuff over there. Fuck that.
Or wait until Christmas for the tariffs.
Yeah. Well, we already had a Democratic
we had government
party,
shutdowns.
But we had already the like what do they call it?
The debates?
The debates for the
well, because we had so many, we had to do 2 different nights.
So we haven't done the Republicans yet, though.
Well, there's not
usually when there's a sitting president.
It's barely a debate.
Oh, really?
You don't put anyone up.
That's what I'm wondering. Like, I think there's no one running against him that's a Republican.
There's 2 other Republicans that may be running, I want to say.
But they're not going to run their mouth. They're going to stay quiet.
But historically...
You can make a lot of money running a campaign.
Yeah.
You really can.
But historically, if your party has the sitting president, they back that guy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because you keep the seat.
And that's why it's interesting, because there's been news stories the past couple of weeks about the Republican Party. Actually, some people have said we're looking here or there, maybe have someone.
And there are some Democratic candidates that are like, oh, you have really cool ideas, but
they're stupid.
Well, they're extreme. Mm-hmm. Like Inslee, his whole focus is on climate change. Andrew Yang wants to do the the IBU, the income
median income or something like that.
The basic income thing, universal basic income. Mm-hmm. But there are so many candidates, and you still got Biden, you still got Bernie,
and Biden's
you still got Warren.
Fucking Bernie.
Biden's not looking good.
Dude,
and he's 20 points in the lead, and he's exactly who Trump hopes he gets to go up against.
Because he's an old man.
Yeah.
It's funny when Trump tweets stuff that Biden...
Poor people are just as smart as white people. Boy, I mean rich people.
Yeah.
What?
Trump.
Come on.
It's funny.
Come on.
It's funny, though, when Trump tweets things like, can you believe Biden says that? I'm like, have you read your own feed?
Donnie.
It's 2 70-year-old guys tweeting out to the ether.
And I don't know why he unless he wanted to make his family more United States royalty, because they were already making fine money. I mean, he'd bankrupt and the company would bankrupt. He wouldn't.
Right, of course.
I think Biden 3 times now, there was a clip of different times he was trying to give out that support text number, and he's like, so if you want to right now, text 303030 to Biden at .com, and they're like, no. He's like 33 C3 P30 pot.
Hit me up, yo. Chirp, chirp. chirp.
Yeah, but they'll get on Biden for saying things like that. But then Trump goes to give support to the shooting victims and survivors and name the wrong place in Ohio.
No, Biden did the same thing.
It wasn't on my teleprompter.
Or smiling when he's like, hey.
Or talk about those great airplane battles we had back in the
Civil War. No, I mean, I feel like the reason why Trump is such an easy target is because, like it or not, Obama was eloquent as shit. He was polished. He was a damn good speaker.
Yeah.
And like I remember someone saying that people are treating Trump as like the worst ever. It's like, do you remember people straight up calling him the N-word for most of the time
do you remember that there were rodeos where they would dress a dummy up like
and hang him
and have
in
the bull go,
effigy?
oh, that's not because he's black. That's just what we've always done to our political.
Nah. Some hell of a piñata.
Yeah.
It's bedsheet night here at the Silver
watermelon
Springs
patch thing, and you're like, come on, no. People were absolutely horrible.
I had said
to Obama he was in.
I never get involved. Like if someone posts something about like Democrats or Republicans on their Facebook page, I don't go at it. It's not worth arguing.
Yeah.
But if I post something and then you come on my wall and want to fight and want to argue, I'll go at you all day. And then one guy posts, fucking 45-year-old washed up comic. He's like sitting there. No, I was in play. He's probably in his mid-50s. 55-year-old washed up fucking hack ass comic comes on my wall, and he's like, in all my years, I've never seen so many people give so little support to the president of the United States. And I'm like, and that right there should fucking tell you something, because I was never a fan of Bush, but I didn't go around talking shit about him. All right, I always go, okay, here's the next one.
Yeah.
But when you're just an evil fucking person, and everybody's gonna look blinders on, like, nah, we're all good here.
Oh, and when people are like, well, why don't you like him? And it's like, no, it's humanly. I can't wrap my head around. Yeah, being a moral person and being like,
you've never done that? Someone actually asked me once, like, you've never been hanging out with a bunch of your guy friends, seen a hot girl and go, I'm just going to walk up and kiss her and not even think about, whether she wants to or not. I'm like, did you really just ask? No. No.
And not only did you not say it, you just didn't do it. Like he has walked up and been like, like,
I mean, we all have that pervert tendency, but we don't say it out loud.
Sure.
He actually...
But when he's like, that's locker room talk, it's like, I've never said I'm going to grab a bitch by the pussy.
No.
Which, if he was a stand-up comedian, that would have killed on stage.
And then on top of that all, I'm like, when it comes down to it, I'm also not the person that was picked to run the country.
Yeah.
So, like, I gave up the idea of having a political career
a while ago.
When I sent my first dick pic.
As soon as you started doing comedy,
you're
that
done.
ship sailed.
You're done.
Because you'll say things on stage that can be, I mean, I know from here, they could take sound bites out of all this shit.
Do you know what they pulled up while he was busy saying, oh, yeah, Clinton was running around with that guy? They pulled up a New York Times article where Trump said about Epstein. He's like, I really like Epstein. He's a really good guy. A lot of people say he enjoys the women as much as I do. A lot of them are younger.
Yeah, it's like...
that was a quote you said. There's no changing that back then.
Boy.
So... you knew it had to go. Where are we at? 90 minutes? Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
All right.
I was thinking about what animal should you have sex with if you had a choice. But that was just me.
So obviously a Republican.
Just saying, you're such an animal guy. I was wondering.
I mean, have it
with
animal.
Yeah, have it with elephant.
Person.
You won't have the ball smacking against your ass.
You might explode, like it might split you like a log.
You'll be shitting pancakes.
No, you would be like just separate.
Yeah.
No, you get sunk in if you had sex with an elephant, wouldn't you? Like if you had sex with a female elephant.
Okay.
Oh yeah,
you just go like your whole body would go inside.
I was just assuming you were going to take the male.
No, no.
Why? Oh, you just asked me. Hey, I'd like to perform bestiality, but I'm the asshole for assuming you want the male.
Just saying.
Yeah. Okay. I think this is the perfect lead-in for. I'll be at Gregory's this week. Cocoa Beach, headlining Thursday, Friday, Saturday. One of my favorite rooms, so definitely come check me out there. Kermit Gonzalez, you can always find him Monday night at the other bar.
With a gun in my mouth.
Or zoos be wary, because Kermit's feeling horny.
I'm coming, Sanford.
Watch out.
What about you? You got that gig coming up out with...
the Grand Martini on the 30th.
On the 30th. So
Friday, 30th.
There you go.
And Charlie Bowie's podcast, Poking the Bear.
Poking the Bear.
Of course.
And you can hear it on also, just like us, iTunes, Spotify, iHeart.
Mm-hmm.
And are you on Stitcher?
I don't, probably. Spotify.
If you want to find it, you're going to find it. It's out there.
Yeah.
You just got to Google it.
Just
It's the only Poking the Bear.
There you go.
Yeah. Cool.
Only Poking the
Well,
Bear.
dude, thank you so much for hanging out with us
Thank you for having me.
And you were worried about not having things to talk about. I'm like,
I
don't
know
worry,
we had
it's
shit to talk
Charlie.
about.
Charlie
That
knows.
was
Charlie
I didn't
knows.
realize all this stuff about Charlie.
I told you, he is a very interesting
I just thought he was a
individual.
guy that likes shorts and flip-flops and does comedy.
I mean,
That should have been the name of the episode.
I do most of that.
Albino Incudacius.
I kind of just narrowed it down,
Yeah,
didn't
right.
Yeah. You used to be
Shorts,
able to put
flip-flop.
beer in there, but not anymore.
Yeah.
All right. Well, thanks for listening to episode 74 of the Obligatory Podcast. We might be taking next week off because it's someone's birthday.
Yay.
Yeah. You going to Monkey Joe's? They going to let you in the ball pit? play
All
with the
right,
other
we're
kids?
done.
All
Hey!
That's what he
son of
calls
a
his
bitch.
mouth.
I like when Charlie's here.
No, I don't like
Charlie,
this
you
at
can
all.
come every week.
Son of a bitch. Bye.
The ball pit.